The man who refused to break. The unstoppable life of Abraham Lincoln. Have you ever felt like the world was actively trying to break you? Imagine losing your business, your home, your partner, and failing in almost every political race you entered. Most people would disappear into the shadows. But in the mid-1800s, when America was standing at the edge of a literal cliff, a man who had known nothing but struggle stepped forward to build a bridge. He wasn't just the 16th president. He was a master of survival. Today, we aren't just looking at a face on a $5 bill. We are looking at the soul of resilience. This is the story of why Honest Abe remains the ultimate symbol of what it means to never, ever give up. Abraham Lincoln was born in a one-room log cabin in the wilderness of Kentucky. He had no silver spoon. He barely had a roof. His formal education lasted roughly 1 year in total. Yet, he possessed a weapon more powerful than any degree, an insatiable curiosity. At 9 years old, he lost his mother. His relationship with his father was strained. He spent his days splitting rails and his nights reading by the flickering orange light of a fireplace. There are stories of him walking miles just to borrow a book. Lincoln taught us early on that where you start does not dictate where you finish. He famously said, "I will prepare, and someday my chance will come." Lincoln's path to the White House wasn't a victory lap. It was a marathon of defeats. He failed in business and spent years paying off the national debt of his failed store. He lost the love of his life, Anne Rutledge, to typhoid fever. He suffered from what was then called melancholy, severe clinical depression. He ran for the state legislature and lost. He ran for Congress and lost. He ran for the Senate twice and lost. To any observer, he was a serial failure. But Lincoln viewed defeat differently. He saw every loss as a hammer blow shaping a blade. He once said, "My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you're content with your failure." He refused to be content. When Lincoln finally won the presidency in 1860, his prize was a country tearing itself apart. The American Civil War began, and brother started killing brother. He entered a White House filled with people who despised him. Instead of surrounding himself with friends, he filled his cabinet with his fiercest political rivals. Why? Because his ego was smaller than his cause. He knew he needed the best minds to save the Union, even if those minds hated him. In 1863, at a battlefield in Gettysburg, he spoke for just 2 minutes. In only 272 words, he redefined the American purpose. He spoke of a new birth of freedom and a government of the people, by the people, for the people. That same year, he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. When he picked up the pen, his hand didn't shake. He knew that by ending slavery, he was finally aligning the nation's reality with its promise. Just 5 days after the war ended, while the nation was finally exhaling in relief, a bullet took his life. But you cannot assassinate an idea. Lincoln proved that character is not the absence of flaws, but the mastery of them. He proved that honesty is not a weakness, but the ultimate power. He showed us that even in the deepest darkness, a single person with enough grit can light a fire that never goes out. When you look in the mirror today and feel like the weight of your challenges is too much, remember the boy from the log cabin. Remember the man who walked through the fire of a civil war and came out with his soul intact. As Lincoln once said, the best way to predict your future is to create it. What part of Lincoln's journey resonates with you the most? Is it his resilience in failure or his courage in leadership? Leave a comment below and share this story with someone who needs a reminder that their current struggle is just a chapter, not the whole book. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of the leaders who shaped our world. Now let's continue with 8 interesting facts about Abraham Lincoln. 1. The Wrestling Hall of Famer. Before he was a politician, Lincoln was an elite athlete. Standing 6'4", he was a formidable wrestler in his youth. Out of roughly 300 matches, he reportedly lost only 1. His grappling skills were so legendary that he was posthumously inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. 2. A licensed bartender. Lincoln is the only U.S. president who is a licensed bartender. In 1833, he opened a general store called Berry and Lincoln in New Salem, Illinois, with his friend William Berry. The shop served as a tavern, and Lincoln spent part of his early career selling whiskey and spirits before the business eventually failed. 3. He created the Secret Service on the day he died. In a twist of tragic irony, Lincoln signed the legislation to create the U.S. Secret Service on April 14, 1865. The very same day he was assassinated. However, at the time, the agency's mission wasn't to protect the president. It was designed to combat widespread currency counterfeiting. 4. The invention in the patent office. Lincoln is the only American president to ever hold a patent. In 1849, he invented a mechanical device, patent No. 6469, consisting of bellows attached to the hull of a boat to help it float over sandbars and shallow water. While the invention was never manufactured, his original scale model is still at the Smithsonian. 5. His stovepipe hat was a mobile filing cabinet. Lincoln's famous tall black hat wasn't just a fashion statement. It was a tool. He used his stovepipe hat to store important letters, legal briefs, and notes for speeches. He was known for plucking documents out of his hat whenever he needed to reference them during a conversation or trial. 6. He was a target for assassins before 1865. Before the fatal shooting at Ford's Theater, Lincoln had several close calls. In 1864, an unknown sniper shot a hole through his hat while he was riding his horse late at night. Even earlier, on his way to his first inauguration in 1861, he had to be smuggled into Washington, D.C. in disguise to avoid a rumored assassination plot in Baltimore. 7. He almost fought a duel with broadswords. In 1842, a politician named James Shields challenged Lincoln to a duel after Lincoln published satirical letters about him. Because Lincoln was the one challenged, he got to choose the weapons. He chose cavalry broadswords because his long arms gave him a massive advantage. Luckily, the two reconciled just before the fight began. 8. His son was saved by the assassin's brother. A few months before Lincoln's assassination, his son, Robert Todd Lincoln, fell off a train platform in New Jersey. A man quickly grabbed him by the collar and pulled him to safety. That man was Edwin Booth, a famous actor and the brother of John Wilkes Booth, the man who would later kill Robert's father. What part of Lincoln's journey resonates with you the most? Is it his resilience in failure or his courage in leadership? Leave a comment below and share this story with someone who needs a reminder that their current struggle is just a chapter, not the whole book. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of the leaders who shaped our world.